as most people's favorite Animal Crossing game, even after 10 years. New Leaf brings a fresh new twist to the franchise with tons of new NPCs, mechanics, and customizations. And on my journey to play every single Animal Crossing, I'm actually really excited for this one. My goals for these 30 days, however, are to customize my character and house as much as I can, open a bunch of the town shops, and try out all the features possible. Now with that out of the way, make sure to subscribe if you like the video, and let's begin the game. Hello, Rover. We meet again. This time on a train, not a bus. Yep, the beginning of this game starts off with our little friend Rover, who asked the time, and I indeed fib a little. But without asking, he plops down in front of me to ask me more questions. Like my name, easy, and most importantly, my town name, which I kinda struggled with. I had many different options to choose from, but ultimately went with Fizz because that's what happens when you open a can of Dr. Pepper. Don't ask! I'm obsessed, okay? But to see what Fizz looks like, he shows me a bunch of different maps that I get to choose from. I don't know if I like that map. Wait, can I actually just say no? What is that map? Wait. Oh! That's awful. It only gets worse. Wait, I don't hate this one. Kind of. It's rough, but here, yeah, go for it. I'm not redoing the game just to get a perfect map. No, I'm good. And as all Animal Crossing games seem to go, he proceeds to ask questions about my travel and goals to get me a specific facial look. But once that was done, I could finally arrive in Fizz. Aww, I look silly. Aww, how cute. Oh, Freckles is back! I just coughed. Yes, stepping off the train, I had a warm welcome that came crashing down very quickly. Mayor? What? Yes, these animals think I'm the new mayor that came to live in this town. And no matter how much I pleaded, they did not care. So apparently, the first thing on my agenda was to go with this dog to the town hall. Not forgetting to say hi to these guys though. Isabel, as we now know, is our secretary and the first person to help us set up our resident registration. What does that entail? Getting an address. Something I don't have. So I needed to head up to Main Street to find the store. Nook's Homes. This is where I meet Tom Nook, the obvious owner of the shop, and he is the one that will help me get an address. Obviously, it takes time to build a home, so he kind of helps me out by sticking down a tent for now. But he'll give me the actual payment info once I get myself set up. So, returning to Isabel, I get my birthday registered. Shout out in the comments if this is your birthday. I got an ID card as well, and finally, we have to hold a ceremony. Oh my god, my villagers? How do I get mint again, bro? What? Okay, that was cute. That was really cute. Aww. This brings so much joy and whimsy into my heart. Isabel tells me to relax after our little ceremony, but I do need to return back to Nook. But speaking with Tom, we learned the down payment is 10k bells, which I do not have. But he thankfully gives me an idea on how to get that, so I start immediately actually finding a different orange than the ones I have around my town, saving that for later. And with my new haul, I take everything over to the retail store. Not only can I sell my stuff to Reese, but I can also try and sell it to my villagers by displaying them in the shop. I sell my goods and take myself back to Main Street, going to Nookling Junction, where I was able to get my first 2 tools that helped me in planting that orange I found earlier. Yeah, we're gonna make a perfect orange tree. And then got all of these fossils buried in the floor. I then took myself to the Able Sisters, who not only sell clothes, but also accessories, with their other sister LaBelle, snagging some glasses while I'm there. With my acquired fossils, I actually took them over to the museum to get examined by Blathers, an owl who runs this very empty place. But we obviously have done a lot, and now I can end the day heading into day 2. Logging into the game, Isabella's here to tell me that she still needs to talk about my mayoral responsibilities and hopes that I'll come see her in the town hall, which I would love to do, but I did get stopped by Pete, our little mailman for Fizz, who tells me I have some mail to check. First from Jack, talking about Halloween coming up, but the second letter, the person who was supposed to be mayor. What? They say that they're not coming to take their title and they wish me well.
Huh?
Anyway, I passed a vacant lot on my way to the hall and finally met up with Isabel. She tells me all about the services she provides as secretary, and before we get to making this town 20% cooler, I have to obtain a town development permit. That sounds scary. But it's not really. Just do normal things around town like I would usually, like collecting fossils, which I was trying to do, but a voice came to me, and this is how I met Wisp, who was trapped inside of a lamp. Taking them to my house, we talk a little, and this is how we learn about the amiibo feature. If I have an amiibo, Wisp can turn into that villager, like Wolf Link. Obviously not the real animal, but very fun to see what I can do with this feature. I go back to my usual tasks, like selling things and donating all my fossils, but new to the mix, I actually buy myself some candy. You know, because Halloween is soon, and getting to writing my villagers letters. I want them to up my approval, so why not write them messages? Even though I was spending a bit of money already, I almost had my house's down payment, so I used the fishing rod I got earlier to finally get all of the money I need and pay off my house's first installment. Obviously, very happy with my accomplishment. Surprisingly, my day is not finished yet, as I went to the campground where I found this dog named Harvey and a couple other campers, specifically Wolf Link's camper. Yep, because I used his amiibo, he came to sell some of his goods. How cute. These campers get changed out every day and use different currency than bells, but it's definitely a cute new addition, and I'll try to check them out as much as I can, thus ending day 2. Day 3 starts off with Isabel talking about a new town resident whom I went to see immediately, giving a warm welcome to our little kangaroo cranky friend, Walt. I get started on my dailies, like shoveling up some fossils, as well as hitting rocks. Did you know hitting a certain rock in town gets you so much cash? Cash that I used when meeting Sahara. She sells wallpapers and carpets, and so for the price of 3,000 bells, I led her to my actually built house so she could spruce it up a bit. And spruce it up she did. What the hell is happening? When I walked inside, it looked wildly different. A weird kind of different, but still pretty dang cool. This is not all of me spending money, however, as I went to see Nook after my house was built, and he told me the new price. Yep, I literally have enough for that, just by a money rock and selling things. So I immediately pay that off, which makes Tom Nook genuinely happy. That only puts me in more debt as I instantly ask for a house upgrade. This one being much more. Keeping up my money spree, again, I buy a bunch of items from the Able Sisters. I honestly look awful. I don't know why I'm doing this. Second to last thing I do before my day ends is pick up all of my flowers to start a hybrid farm. Obviously, I can't do this without a watering can, but surely that can't take too long. Right now, go in the comments and tell me what day you think I'll get one. It's quite crazier than you think. And while you're there, obviously make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to hit 20K before the end of the year, so any help is greatly appreciated. The last thing on my to-do list was actually seeing Isabel about rating, which is just a measly 38. So she gives me a couple ideas, like creating a new town tune, which, not gonna lie, I don't even remember what I did. And give Fizz a new town flag, thus ending my day at 44%. Day 4 started a little weirder as the old mayor showed up on my loading screen to tell me about a resort island that is always summer and that I should come visit sometime. Also noting that he'll be waiting at the town's dock to tell me more. First thing I notice in my mail is a letter from the Happy Home Academy, whom also wants me to visit them. But I do get a little distracted doing my dailies and seeing an empty plot of land.
That's a little yellow bear. How exciting!
Walking into Main Street, I get greeted by Digby, who is not only Isabel's brother, but a worker at the Happy Home Showcase. This is the area where anyone's home can be toured using the internet connection, but I indeed will not be using this. So, sorry. There's no escaping them though, because Lyle, another Happy Home worker, is set up inside Nook Homes. And he is there to give me advice on my house. Advice I need not take because it is my house and I will do what I want. I also went to the other stores on Main Street, spending money here and there, but most importantly, getting a froggy chair. How cute! This is why I don't need Lyle's home advice, because look at this place! This is finally when I not only talk to some villagers, but meet up with Tortimer at the docks. He tells me starting soon there will be someone waiting here on a boat, just in case I ever decide to join him on the island. And to my surprise, Tortimer wasn't the only stranger in my town. So was this tent. Going inside, I meet Red, who is a seller of fake and authentic art that can be donated to the museum. I do a little bit of sleuthing and grab, I hope, an authentic piece, but I won't know until he ships it to me tomorrow. So I take myself to the town hall and end my day on 65% approval rating. Not only has someone moved in on day 5, but my perfect orange tree is done. How cool. Immediately allowing me to go plant 3 more. And also check out my new villager, Tammy. She is a big sister bear cub that will now reside here. If it isn't obvious by now, cause I'll try not to talk about it a lot, I do my dailies and thankfully donate the art I got yesterday as it was authentic, grab some things from the shops, and find another new tent appearing in town. This time we meet Katrina, a fortune teller visiting for the day. After a crazy cool Astral Lake sequence, she tells me cute bottoms will be the key to unlocking my fortune, which she didn't exactly clarify which bottoms, but now I know, and hopefully this knowledge will help me. In a hide and seek tournament. Yep, Eunice wanted to play hide and seek, so I caved. But there's no way I could possibly lose this, as they gave me 15 minutes. What time did I end it at? 12:57. Easy, bro, what? The next thing in my journey was seeing Cap'n on the pier, the turtle who would take me to the resort we talked with Tortimer about yesterday. On our journey there, he sings and sings. But we eventually make it there, not only meeting his wife and child, but grandmother as well. I collect some goods I don't have on my town and decide to do a little touring, like the Easy Hammer tour. The goal is to whack this machine as much as possible in 3 minutes, and not gonna lie, I sucked at this. By the time it was over, I was honestly shocked at the results. Dude, I thought I just hit 30. What? Okay. I did better than I thought. That was definitely a lot for today though. So I made my journey back home, this time skipping Cap'n's song, Sorry Not Sorry, and ended my day with my approval rating. Whoa, that happened quick. What? I did it. That's so quickly too. I mean, I'm on day 5. Huh. Of course, ending a very happy day 5. Day 6 started with Isabel telling me we received our permit and that I should head over quickly, which I would love to do, but come on. No. Really? We're really moving right here. Who? Coulson! Move out! You're gonna make me start barking and I'm mad. Yeah, my town pathing plans just got a little more annoying. But ignoring that, I headed to the town hall to check out my new perks, like ordinances, which changes key factors in how Fizz is run, as well as creating public works projects, which are things like buildings and benches around the town. Starting with ordinances, I actually picked the beautiful town ordinance, as it prevents weeds and keeps flowers pretty. Seemed super beneficial, but obviously really expensive. Work projects, however, we'll get to later. Spending a lot of my bells in the shops, I did need to make more money, so I fished a lot of the day, where I bumped into Gulliver, a seagull who just so happened to fall overboard and can't remember where he was headed on the sea. So with a little bit of clues from him, we deduce he was going to Greece, and he thanks us by giving a little souvenir in the mail. Finally, ending my day. Day 7, Isabel reminded me Wilson moved into town, and just a great start, right? Can't even go into his house without getting injured. But we met him, a smug little duck, and continued on actually talking to other people in town, like Sable, whom after pestering 4 days on end, finally remembers my name. How nice. This day was definitely a little chill as I found this cute blue brick at Nooks that I just had to buy, and then decided since my money was up, I was gonna work super hard today to try and get everything I needed for my loan. And wouldn't you know it, I completely paid it off, thus ending my day. A very casual day, day 8, as I did some of my usuals, like of course, spending money, and talking to some villagers. Even having Eunice over at my house. But the biggest thing was actually making my own clothes at the Able Sisters. Yup, my profile picture has a design and I tried very hard to recreate it. Super not good at this, but I think ultimately I did really well. Thus ending my day getting another piece of art from Red's tent in town. So I forgot, but day 9 is apparently my birthday. I've been trying to hop around dates, so I completely failed to remember what date I put my birthday as. But my residents did not forget, as they threw me a little party. What? How sweet. Literally, look at this cake. Which, wouldn't you know, is a great way to start the day. But I'm also gonna pause here and say I literally don't know when I obtained this net. I looked everywhere in my footage and couldn't find it, so I have this now. But I do appreciate all the presents because I finally got a cabinet to put all of my hoarder stuff in. Before getting to my big plan today, I talk a bit with my villagers, even doing a couple quests for them, like getting rid of their fleas. Gross. But most importantly, heading to the resort. One of the best ways to get bells in this game is to hunt bugs on the island. So to make my chances better, I get rid of a ton of foliage, leaving just a couple trees for them to spawn on. But this takes a while, catching bugs, putting them in my take-home basket, and repeating until the entire basket is basically full. But luckily for me, I get back to Fizz and sell them for over 100,000 bells. Literally having just over 200,000 in my bank before ending the day. Not only did my birthday sneak up on me, but so did Halloween. Yeah, today is Halloween. And yup, you might have thought it was weird for me buying all of the scary masks at the beginning of the video, but today, they all come into play, as well as the candy, which even going to get more of. Tommy tells me that the shop is actually going to be closed November 1st for remodel. I collect all my candy and masks, going to spook as many as I could, because each villager has their own fear, and scaring them is how I get candy. Candy that I can also give to my villagers that are dressed up outdoors. When doing so, they give me the key to scaring people. This one sucked though, cause I already knew he was scared of bugs, so lame. Walking around, I not only find a plot of land for someone named Sherry, but a new villager to haunt. Why are you scared of skeletons, goofball? And also try to find Jack. He is the one whom the candy is really for, as he gives a bunch of goods for it. So of course, I did that for a bunch of my candy and ended my day a lot less spooky. And clean. My god, my room looks so much better. Day 11, I wanted to start it off by meeting my new resident Sherry, but she's literally asleep. Girl, come on. Instead, I find Sahara again, whom I, of course, let into my house for another makeover. This was not the best thing ever. So glad I spent 3,000 on that. Going into town though, I noticed a bunch of construction going on, not only at the Nickling store, but also beside the Able sisters. How exciting. Because it's so early in the morning though, I could only do a couple of my dailies and honestly spent most of the time fishing and even burying a time capsule for a minute, I guess. At the end of my day, however, I got started on my first public works project, the campsite. Usually this would take a bit to donate everything to Lloyd the gyroid, but I am rich now, so that will easily be completed soon. Day 12, Shari was still asleep, so instead I took myself to the new TNT Mart, where they had even more in stock, like fortune cookies. I guess this counts as a fortune. I got myself a new helmet, how cute. And truly did not do too much today other than cry about still not having a water bucket for these flowers, hang out with my villagers, and of course, finish my campsite funding. Day 13, Isabel tells me of a new shoe store opening, which I would go visit, but I have someone important at my door. Yeah? What? I would love that. Please. Of course, go. I don't even care what kind of shop it is. Yeah, I don't care. Yep, he wants to open a club. So to try and get this ball rolling, Shrunk gave me a signature sheet, and for my job as mayor, I get to go around having people sign it. Yes, even Sherry. She's finally awake, bro. But surprisingly, it wasn't hard. Basically, everyone was on board off rip, so I managed to get that done pretty quickly, heading to Shrunk on Main Street. Now, all that's left for him is to get a permit. Heck yeah. Finally allowing me to head to the new shoe store, Kicks, where you can not only buy shoes, but also socks. How cool. Heading to the town hall, Isabel tells me that we should have a celebration for our new campsite, which I am totally okay with. Gathering everyone and having a bit of fun, but talking to people, I get the craziest conversation. Whoa, 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 that came out of nowhere. I'm gonna say it's okay, because I want some new villagers. Do I kind of wish it was Freckles or Mint since I've already had them in my town before? Yeah. But Quilson's fine. Yeah, you can... Your house is also right next to mine, isn't it? Yeah, you know what? Please go away. But enough, the last thing I got up to today was creating a new project, a yellow bench, and completing it immediately, ending my day. Day 14 starts off with a bunch of fetch quests and flea quests, even finding someone's lost pouch that took me forever to return. But going into Main Street, I see there is another building under construction. And guess what's also now under construction? Yup, my house. I'm getting a new hedge fence. Closer to the end of the day, I actually found someone in my new campsite. Whoa! I think she can move into my town, but I don't want her to. Sadly, I do not want her in my town, so I will leave her be. But to fully end off my day, I took a look at a lot of progress in the museum and held a celebration for my yellow park bench. Day 15, Isabel told me a garden shop was opening on Main, but before I went over, I opened a lovely gift from my mom. Thanks. But I am so glad the shop finally opened, as I can now get a watering can. Yes, hello Leaf. Very happy to meet you. But oh my god, 15 days I've gone without being able to water flowers or even get new ones, which I can now do. I barely get any hybrids, just pre-warning. Obviously, on my list of dailies, I have to donate fossils, but when I entered the museum, Blathers, the night owl, was already awake and pondering. Since I am mayor, Blathers actually asked for help in getting the museum remodeled by adding a second floor for attractions. Obviously, though, this needs to be funded, so after getting myself some new gear, I get donations set up in the train station. I use up quite literally all of my bells to get this funded as soon as possible, and for some reason, think that this is the best time for a house upgrade. But who cares about that, since I can finally water flowers and hopefully get hybrids soon. What is he doing here? Day 16 started with Isabel telling me of the museum expansion, which I, of course, went to. And I was expecting Blathers to tell me all about it, but his ass was in fact asleep. So instead, going upstairs, I meet Celeste, who tells me that this floor is open for residents' exhibits. All you need to do is buy a room and you can decorate it. And considering I have a bunch from Halloween, I actually decide to do just that. Okay, maybe not as much stuff as I thought, but still works fine. Walking into the Able Sisters, I see a ginormous sewing machine that Sable lets me know I can use at any time. This is how you scan QR codes in the game to get custom designs, and yes, I will absolutely be using this, just not at the moment. Instead, I will be using this new clown nose. Hell yeah, branding. Not only that, but I pick up a new tool from Leaf, the axe, which I can use to cut trees, but sadly, not red. I know I haven't been scammed by him yet, but never say never, you know? End of the day for me was actually spent having a celebration for the museum. Day 17, Isabel tells me of Shrunk's live venue opening, and even talks about how she hopes KK Slider will someday perform there. Foreshadowing. So now, after doing my new updated dailies and getting a special silver shovel from the museum, I take myself over. Meeting Shrunk, he tells me about the music events every night, which I would so go to, but I can only play for an hour a day, and it's 3 p.m. But in the off hours, I can actually get a special performance if I give Shrunk food. So I obviously do. This is how you get reactions in the game. Whatever comedy show he puts on is the expression you get. Like today's was bashfulness. How cute. But sadly, you can only get one a day, so we end there. Moving ahead in time, on day 18, Quilson is actually leaving town, so we head over to see him first thing. Aww. Aww. Now I feel bad letting him go. No, I don't. He was right behind my house. The game gave me another campsite villager to counteract Coulson leaving, but absolutely not. So I continued with my very chill day, getting another new expression and ending there. Day 19 started off super magical, as once I left my house, I noticed a meteor shower happening in the sky. And not only that, but I can wish upon them. Afterwards, I do my usual dailies, now adding Shrunk into the mix. And because it's nighttime, I actually take myself over to the resort island again. I definitely used up a bunch of my money, so it was about time to get a bit of that back by catching as many bugs as I could, ending with literally 400,000 bells. What the hell? But since it was night, I actually thought it would be the best idea to spend it at Shrunk's. And luckily for Isabel, KK Slider is actually here. Yup. I ended day 19 jamming out in a venue with Shrunk and KK Slider. Checking my mail, day 20, I get a gift from Wishy the Wish Star, who was very happy that I did all that wishing the night before, though I was not expecting this gift to be that wild. But going into town, we get some construction going on. Construction I'm really excited for. And not only that, but Blathers is pondering again. This time about his friend Brewster. Since I'm the mayor, he wants me to help set up a coffee shop here in town for him. And let's be real, that is a great idea. So before I get started on that, I actually think this is a great time to finally use that sewing machine that Sable got. Using it, I obtained these cute pathways that I use in my town, allowing me to map out basically where I want the cafe to go. So once I talked to Isabel, I was able to put it down correctly. There was still a ton of time left in the day, so I actually spent it laying down a ton more pathing and using my new riches to get the cafe funded. Day 21, the cafe is open, as well as the beauty salon. Yup, no headgear for me. So I race on over to meet Harriet, the poodle who will be styling me today. And even though it's a pretty expensive endeavor, I knew I wanted to get my dark blue hair. So I give her all the info she needed and she got it done. How pretty. I also went and got myself a slingshot that I actually never really used, but just know I did get it. And finally went to check out the cafe. First getting to celebrate the opening, and then getting to meet the infamous Brewster, whom was able to get me some piping hot coffee for just 200 bells. The rest of my time in the day, however, I spent laying down paths. Day 22, I started my day by trying to put a fountain behind my house. Very difficult to do as I could not see. In celebration though, I went to get coffee, actually seeing Eunice there as well, before heading on a fun adventure for the day. Yup, we're heading to the resort. This time, not to make a ton of money, but instead do some tours. The first one on our list being the shellfish free-for-all. Basically, I get this little wetsuit and have 5 minutes to get as many shellfish as I can, which started off strong, not even collecting fish, but the durians I found on the island. Then I hopped into the water. Sadly, I was not doing great. With the minimum amount needed to succeed being 3, I literally got 6. Thankfully, Tortimer was proud of me though. That was not the end, however, as I got to play hide and seek, this time being 8 minutes, and still just as easy as last time. Like seriously. We just started, getting me 7 medals in return. I could have used those medals to buy things, but I actually went home instead. But I had a really good idea for the rest of the day. I hit up Wisp again, this time asking him to transform into Pietro, a cute clown sheep. And guess what? Since I have space on my town, I can actually invite him over. Yup. How easy was that? So with all the joy I now had, I went to see Katrina, who was visiting my town, and got my fortune. I woke up day 23 for Walt to immediately want to visit my house, so I guess I did that for a bit. Then took myself around town for some dailies. Oh, I didn't think that would work! Yeah, and the rainbow in the background. Yes! Yeah. Not just any rainbow, a double rainbow. It's a good day. I go and get myself a new exterior from Nooks, of course, being blue. And when getting my coffee of the day from Brewster, he actually says I can start getting to-go coffees. How freaking cool. Today was similar to yesterday though, as I went back to the resort for some tours, mostly to steal island resources and use them in my town. I celebrated the new fountain and spent the rest of the time I had pathing out. I woke up to my gorgeously blue house, day 24, as well as met my new villager. His house was definitely an eyesore, but not him. How sweet. I love our new smug sheep in town, but he starts asking for real quick. I just met you. Why am I already getting you fruit? In other news, I have donated so many fossils that I couldn't even donate today because they were all doubles. But today was mostly spent doing things like getting an expression, watering plants, meeting Gulliver again, and setting up a new public works project. Yeah, that was a quick completion. Harvest Festival is actually day 25, and little did I know it would be a lot more work than I thought. So I hit up Franklin, who sat in the town square, and got some info. He's making a ton of dishes for the festival and needs my help to get some of the ingredients, this time being vinegar, orange, and an apple.
How am I supposed to get an apple? I don't have an apple. At least he's not being, like, preyed upon this time. My animals are trying to eat him.
Yeah, I learned pretty quickly that villagers and their houses will give me the ones to help me by first helping them. Simon, for example, needs a carp for the dish he's making, and so after I've gone out and caught it for him, he might give me something I need. Or not. What the hell? So I went to other houses like Walt, where after helping him, he also disappointed me. And it continues. 3 oranges. Thankfully, this time, Simon gives me an apple for my work, which just leaves vinegar. Oh wait, there's also a special ingredient. Thankfully, I learned the secret info, and once I got my vinegar, I was able to find a beehive to gift to Franklin. With this, he made our very first dish, the fruit bowl. Next was a soup that required milk, a flat mushroom, and round mushroom. And luckily for me, most of that was just around on the floor already. I just needed milk and the secret ingredient, which I learned was some butter. Thankfully, getting all of these easier and heading back to Franklin. Our third dish is our fish entree, again with more simple ingredients besides the secret ingredient. Oh boy, I don't have that either. And with some fishing and talking to people, we got it done. Finally ending with our dessert, which of course I had none of. This required a bunch of back and forth and a lot of useless fishing. Even going to sell my items, I meet a new character named Cyrus. He is Reese's partner and he likes to refurbish items, so not exactly useful right now, but will be fun for future endeavors. I finally get everything I need, even the special ingredient, and complete the Harvest Festival. After ending it all though, really wish I could have just seen one villager coming to look at the food. Day 26 started off by celebrating this little clock public works project. How cute. And even getting my first to-go coffee. I thought it was endless at first, but no, it did indeed run out. And after doing some of my usual dailies, now we can actually hit up Cyrus for some refurbishing. I actually got a pretty standard table and even a nice pattern top from Abel's and headed on over. With him, I was able to change the wood color as well as the cloth, putting in that top I got. The only issue is that it'll be done in 30 real life minutes. So in the meantime, I worked on a ton of pathing around my town and even went to Reds again. This time, I know 100% that this is not fake. And with all that time I spent working, it was finally time to get my new table, and it looks pretty dang good. Definitely a really cool feature. Day 27, I had the shock of a lifetime when Tammy came up to talk to me. Aw. No! Wait, I wanted somebody else to move. I wanted to keep Tammy. Aw, I don't want to later gator Tammy. That's so mean. Ugh. Okay, it's fine. In a while, crocodile, I guess. Instead of finding my usual money rocks, I actually found a gem rock. Look at this, how insane. I tried to sell all of them thinking I'd get a ton of money, but not really. Instead, for the rest of the day, I actually took myself over to the resort where I played more tours, using all of my hard-earned metals to get myself some bushes as well as the silver axe, which I took back to town and used to clear out more space. We really jumped ahead on day 28, so much so my animals were asking for me. But there's a reason for this. I've been going very chronologically in every Animal Crossing video in terms of the seasons, and I really don't want to do New Horizons in winter, so I decided to jump up a bit and do Christmas on New Leaf. Yup. That's coming soon. Because I traveled so far ahead though, I needed to go and get my hair redone. Looks a little messy right now. So I quickly went and did that. I also got to see some new offers at the store, like this incredibly interesting shaped wand. It glows. I promise it glows. We also have these little snowballs around, and with them, you can make snow people. I meant to make a perfect snow boy, but actually, I made a snowman. Whoops. Though speaking to her, she did inform me of snowflakes that she wants me to fetch for her. Specifically, 3 of them. So after completing some of those, I bring them back. And she bestows upon me a wall, a part of an obvious ice furniture collection. Because Toy Day is coming up, however, I'm trying to do my best to get hints of what my villagers want, and I'm kind of struggling, but I do manage to get some, but it takes a load of talking to just for them to say anything about it, which I'm not kidding is how I ended my day. It continued on day 29 of talking to as much people as I could, now finding out that not only do they tell me certain things like furniture or toys, but also the color of the items. They're really banking on Jingle giving them the right thing, and a part of me thinks I'm going to have to know this information, so I really hope this list of information will be enough. Fun enough, in the winter season, the campsite actually becomes a full-fledged igloo. How cute. Even Leonardo looks all snuggly in here. I go and do my usual shrunk visit as well as cafe, but this time when getting coffee, Brewster actually asks if I want to start working part-time. What? How fun! So of course, I'll try that out tomorrow, thus ending my day. The last day, day 30, and also Toy Day. So what better way to start it than dressing up entirely like Santa? Yep, I bought all of the clothes and now can be him, which Jingle definitely liked when I went to talk to him, so much so he now actually wants me to deliver all of the presents. I take this heavy sack and my knowledge that I previously got and go find Eunice, who was definitely easier since I knew it was a toy and white, successfully giving her the right one. But that did not last long, as with Sherry, I had all the info, but none of these were purple. So I picked a table, which isn't even a toy now that I'm looking at it, and obviously got it wrong. I had a much better time guessing with Pietro, thank God, but fumbled on the duck that happily watched him receive the item he wanted. Mint and Simon were a bit easier of a guessing game since it was just a 50-50, getting both of them right, thank God. But of course that meant Boone and Walt both received wrong items. Yeah, I did awful. I did not think it would be that bad. I even got some snark from Jingle, which was a little uncalled for. He could have just done it himself. Thankfully, the villagers are still happy with seeing Santa himself, even if they didn't get what they wanted. And you know what? I didn't get what I wanted either. I was so excited to work for Brewster today, but nope. It's a holiday, and he didn't want me. Which, crazy enough, is how this 30-day ends. I adore this game and cannot even believe how much we were able to do in such a short amount of time. Of course, I couldn't get everything unlocked, but I think I did good considering my time frame. Compared to all its predecessors, it's obviously superior, and I can tell why it's labeled the best Animal Crossing game, but we still have more to go. So thank you again so much for watching, and if you liked it, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.